What if the little 2007 Lincoln penny sitting in your coin jar right now isn't worth 1 cent? What if you have already picked one up, looked at it for 2 seconds, and put it right back into circulation without realizing there was something unusual about it? That happens more often than you might think. The 2007 Lincoln cent looks ordinary. It has Lincoln on the front, the familiar memorial design on the back, and a tiny D mint mark identifying the Denver Mint. But here's the part most people don't know. Not every 2007 penny is created equal. Some examples can become genuinely collectible because of unusual mint errors, dramatic die varieties, or exceptional condition. And when collectors discover a coin with the right combination of rarity and condition, its value can jump far beyond its 1 cent face value. So before you spend, toss, clean, or give away another 2007 penny, take a close look. Because the difference between an ordinary penny and a valuable collectible could be hiding in a detail smaller than the tip of your fingernail. Welcome to Coinverse Hub, where we search through America's everyday coins to uncover the varieties, errors, and stories that collectors don't want you to miss. And today, we're putting the 2007 Lincoln penny under the microscope. But don't leave yet. Because I'm going to show you the exact areas you need to inspect, the mistakes that can make a seemingly valuable penny completely ordinary, and the kinds of 2007 examples that collectors are actually willing to pay a premium for. Here's something that could change the way you look at your pocket change. You don't need to find a completely different coin. You don't need a missing date. You don't even need a coin that looks spectacular from across the room. Sometimes, the clue is incredibly small. A strange strike. An unusual die feature. A dramatic displacement of the design. Or a tiny detail that tells an experienced collector that this isn't just another penny. And in a moment, I'll show you exactly where to start looking. Before we examine the possible errors, let's talk about the D mint mark. The D tells us that the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. That doesn't automatically make the penny rare. And this is extremely important. Simply finding a 2007 penny does not mean you've found a valuable coin. There were enormous numbers of Lincoln cents produced, so most 2007 pennies you'll encounter are ordinary circulation coins. The real opportunity comes when your coin has something unusual. That's where the hunt begins. But here's where things get interesting. Imagine you've already checked the date. You see 2007. You see the D. Everything looks normal. You're about to throw the penny back into the jar. Stop. There's another part of the coin you should examine before making that decision. And this is where many beginning collectors make their biggest mistake. Turn the coin over and examine the reverse carefully. Look at the Lincoln Memorial. Check the lettering. Look around the edges. Examine the columns. Then inspect the entire surface under strong light. You're looking for evidence that the coin was struck abnormally or that something unusual happened during the minting process. That could include an off-center strike, a broad strike, a clipped planchet, a major die crack, a die chip, a doubled feature, or another recognized minting variety. The key word here is major. A tiny scratch caused after the coin left the mint isn't a valuable mint error. A dent from a machine isn't necessarily an error. Damage from circulation isn't the same thing as a minting mistake. Knowing that difference can save you from wasting time, and can also prevent you from overlooking a genuine discovery. Now comes the question everyone wants answered. How much could a 2007 penny actually be worth? And this is where you need to be careful. You may see internet posts claiming that certain pennies are worth unbelievable amounts of money. But the real coin market doesn't work that way. Value depends on the exact variety, authenticity, condition, demand, and when applicable, professional certification. A normal 2070 penny may be worth only face value. But a genuine, dramatic error or an exceptionally high-grade certified example can be a completely different story. So we're not going to judge this coin by hype. We're going to judge it by the evidence. And if you think you've found something unusual, do not clean the coin. This is one of the biggest mistakes new collectors make. They find an old or unusual penny and immediately try to make it shiny. They use a cloth. They use polish. Sometimes they even use household chemicals. Don't do it. Cleaning can permanently damage the original surface and hurt the coin's collector appeal. If your 2007 penny looks unusual, leave it exactly as you found it. But there's still one question we haven't answered. What separates a penny that's simply interesting from a penny that's genuinely valuable? That's where condition, rarity, and authentication come together. Two coins can have the same date and mint mark and look almost identical to an untrained eye. Yet one may be ordinary, while the other attracts serious collector attention. So before you decide what your 2007 penny is worth, you need to learn how collectors evaluate it. And that's exactly what we're going to uncover next. Because your next coin jar could contain something interesting, but only if you know what you're looking for. Keep watching, because the smallest detail could be the one that changes everything. Now let's get to the part you've been waiting for. What exactly should you look for on a 2007 Lincoln penny? Because if you're checking your coin simply because it has a D mint mark, you could be looking at thousands of ordinary pennies before finding anything special. The D doesn't automatically mean rare. The year 2007 doesn't automatically mean rare. And a shiny penny doesn't automatically mean valuable. What we're hunting for is something much more interesting. A genuine mint error or an exceptionally well-preserved example. And this is where your inspection needs to become much more serious. Take your 2007 penny and place it under a bright light. Don't use your phone flashlight from several feet away. Get the light close enough to reveal the surface, but position it at an angle so unusual raised areas and distortions become easier to see. Start with the front. Look at Lincoln's portrait. Examine the date. Check the letters in Liberty. Look around the rim. Then slowly rotate the coin. You're not simply looking for something shiny. You're looking for something that shouldn't be there. A double design. A displaced strike. A major die crack. An unusual rim. Or another feature that appears to have happened during the minting process. And there's one particular type of error that can turn an ordinary-looking 2007 penny into a completely different kind of collectible. The off-center strike. When a coin blank isn't properly positioned between the dies during striking, the design can be pushed dramatically toward one side. Instead of Lincoln sitting perfectly in the center, you'll see a large area of blank planchet on one side and the design pushed toward the opposite edge. The more dramatic the displacement, the more interesting the coin can become. But here's an important detail. The date matters. If a dramatic off-center coin still clearly shows the date and mint mark, collectors can identify exactly what they have. That can make a major difference in desirability. Now imagine finding a 2007 penny where Lincoln isn't centered at all. You turn it slightly. You see a large blank crescent. You look at the date. 2007. Then you look beside it. D. Suddenly, that penny you were about to spend becomes something you need to investigate. But don't stop there. Because there's another type of error that can be even more dramatic. A double strike occurs when a coin receives more than one strike during the minting process. Some double strikes are subtle. Others are unmistakable. If the second strike occurs after the coin moves or changes position, portions of the design can appear dramatically displaced or duplicated. And this brings us to one of the most fascinating possibilities associated with the 2007 cent: the flip over double strike. This is not simply ordinary machine doubling. A true flip over double strike can show design elements from both strikes overlapping in a way that makes the coin look almost surreal. In documented examples, the second strike can create completely different looking imagery across the surfaces. And these aren't the kinds of coins you should casually spend. They're the kinds of coins that deserve professional examination. But here's where I want you to be extremely careful. Not every coin that looks doubled is a valuable double strike. And not every strange-looking letter is a doubled die. Some unusual appearances are caused by mechanical doubling, die deterioration, circulation damage, or lighting. That means you shouldn't decide that your penny is worth hundreds of dollars just because something looks unusual under a magnifying glass. You need evidence. You need comparison. And for truly valuable discoveries, you want authentication. Another area to inspect is the die itself. During the enormous process of striking millions of coins, dies can develop cracks and breaks. When metal flows into those damaged areas during striking, the result can appear as a raised line or unusual raised shape on the finished coin. Small die cracks may have little value, but large, dramatic die breaks or cut errors can attract collectors. A cut occurs when part of the die breaks away, producing a distinctive raised area where the normal design is missing or dramatically altered. This is why you should never inspect only the center of your penny. Run your eyes around the entire rim. Look at the edges. Look for unusual raised metal. Look for areas where the design suddenly disappears. And remember, a scratch is usually a scratch. A raised feature created during striking is a completely different story. Here's a simple test. If the feature is sunken into the coin, be suspicious that it may be damage. If the feature is raised above the original surface, it deserves closer attention. That's not an absolute rule for every error, but it's a useful starting point. And now we're getting closer to the real question. What could a genuine 2007 error actually be worth? The answer depends heavily on the exact error. A normal 2007 Lincoln cent in circulated condition is generally worth about 1 cent. Even high-grade ordinary examples aren't automatically worth huge amounts. Current market references show that ordinary 2007 cents generally have modest values, with exceptional certified examples commanding higher premiums. But errors are different. A dramatic off-center strike can carry a premium. A major die break can carry a premium. A genuine double strike can carry a much larger premium. And an unusual wrong planchet or dual denomination error can become extremely desirable. One of the strongest documented examples is a 2007 Lincoln cent struck on an already struck dime. Heritage Auctions recorded this unusual error, graded MS 66 PCGS, selling for $1,265 on May 1, 2009. The coin showed visible Roosevelt dime and laurel imagery beneath the Lincoln cent designs. Now that's the kind of discovery that demonstrates why error collectors inspect modern coins so carefully. Because the date alone wasn't responsible for that price. The error was. Think about that for a moment. A penny from 2007 can be completely ordinary. Or it can contain a minting mistake so unusual that collectors are willing to pay dramatically more than 1 cent for it. And that's why you should never confuse the value of the date with the value of the error. The date tells you what coin you're examining. The variety or error can tell you why someone might want it. Now let's talk about condition. This is where many collectors become confused. You can have two 2007 pennies with the same error. One looks scratched, dull, and heavily circulated. The other looks almost untouched, with brilliant original surfaces and sharp details. They're both interesting, but they may not have the same market value. Professional grading companies evaluate coins based on their condition, strike, surfaces, color designation, and other characteristics. For Lincoln cents, you'll often hear terms such as MS65 red, MS66 red, MS67 red, or MS68 red. The higher the grade, the more demanding the standards become. And with modern Lincoln cents, truly exceptional high-grade examples can be surprisingly scarce because even tiny marks can prevent a coin from receiving the very highest grades. Current market data lists a 2007 DMS68 example around the tens of dollars in retail value, illustrating an important point. Even an exceptionally high-grade normal coin does not automatically become a 4- or 5-figure coin. That's why the biggest values usually require something more. Rarity plus condition. So if you've been hoping that every shiny 2007 D penny is secretly worth thousands of dollars, here's the truth. Most aren't. But that doesn't make the search pointless. It makes the real discoveries more exciting. Because when you finally find something genuinely unusual, you know exactly why it matters. Now let's talk about one of the biggest mistakes you can make after finding a possible error. Don't clean it. I know the temptation. You see an unusual penny. It's dirty. You think, I'll make this shine and it'll look more valuable. Don't. Never polish a potentially valuable coin with household products. Don't scrub it. Don't scrape it. Don't use abrasive materials. The original surface is part of the coin. If you believe you've found an important error, protect the coin exactly as it is. Hold it by the edges. Place it in an appropriate holder. Take clear photographs. And compare it with trusted references. If the feature looks significant, consider having it examined by a qualified numismatist or professional grading service. And here's the final mistake I don't want you to make. Don't sell too quickly. If someone sees your unusual penny and immediately offers you a few dollars, that doesn't automatically mean that's all it's worth. First, determine exactly what you have. Identify the error. Compare it with documented examples. Check recent auction results. Then decide what selling method makes the most sense. Knowledge should come before the price. So where should you look for these coins? Start with what you already have. Check old coin jars. Check collections inherited from family. Check rolls of pennies. Check boxes of loose change. Check coins that have been sitting untouched for years. You don't need to buy an expensive collection to begin. Sometimes the best education comes from examining ordinary coins and learning what normal actually looks like. Because once you understand what a normal 2007 D penny should look like, an abnormal one becomes much easier to recognize. And that's the real secret of successful coin hunting. You aren't searching for something that looks valuable. You're searching for something that doesn't look normal. And now I want you to look at your own 2007 D penny one more time. Look at the date. Look at the D. Look at Lincoln. Look at the rim. Turn it over. Inspect the memorial. Then look again. Because after everything you've learned today, you may notice something you completely missed the first time. And if you find a dramatic off-center strike, a major die break, a genuine double strike, or an unusual wrong planchet error, don't spend it. Set it aside. Protect it. Document it. And get it properly examined. Because the most exciting part of coin collecting isn't being told that your coin is valuable. It's discovering why it's valuable. And that moment, when an ordinary penny becomes an extraordinary discovery, is exactly why millions of collectors continue searching through American pocket change. Thank you for watching Coinverse Hub. If you have a 2007 Lincoln penny that looks unusual, tell us what you found in the comments. And if you want more videos showing you exactly what to look for in America's everyday coins, subscribe to the channel. Because your next discovery could be sitting quietly in a coin jar, waiting for you to notice it. Keep searching, keep learning, and never assume a penny is ordinary until you've checked it carefully.